So you joined us today in this creature spotlight with this amazing Baryonyx, and obviously the goofy old character that is me. And I want to go over why I love the Baryonyx just so much. We're obviously in the swamp biome on Crystal Isles, and that is where we're going to be spending our today's video. So we're going to hop straight into this swamp biome and talk about why this thing is so great. And firstly, it's actually its damage output. And while there's a Rex here, and obviously we're dealing with insane levels at this point, I'll show you the level of this thing. That's the level of me. I need to do that. We're level 750. We seem to keep getting lower levels as these videos going on, but 625 damage is still great to have. And you can see that was only a 150 Rex. Probably explains why we killed it so quickly, but our damage is definitely going to rack up as we put all this in. And you can just see how much loot we've already got already. It's a shame Prime Meat doesn't stack. That's why we always use the Ultra Stacks mod, but I've gone modless for these videos because I don't want to add any extra mods on top of all of this. But you can see as well, they're pretty fast and versatile as they are. Now you can see we do 1,800 damage. Much more respectable in a world like this, especially when we get into like higher level creatures. You'll be able to see a lot more of a difference with us killing them faster, even though, you know, that was a 150 Rex, and that's obviously how we managed to kill it faster due to the fact it was a 150. The water is also a great home of the Barry though, and although we're not traveling at insanely fast speeds, we are at movement 140. Let's go up to 156. They're still great swimmers underwater, and they've got a little secret ability. So when we find a creature, the oceans on Crystal Isles are really bare. It's sort of not worth being in here at all. But there's a Megalodon, and it can stun creatures up to the size of a Megalodon with its neat little second attack. As you can see, do that. It does 1,622 damage, a little bit less than your first attack. But this Megalodon can't move at all, and it can't attack me. And boom, like that, it's gone. So it's a really effective way of using the Barry underwater as well. I'm going to pump that movement because I want this thing to go even faster than before. It's perhaps not quite as fast as something like a Spino in the water, but it still is fast and agile at getting around for an underwater amount. A lot of carnivores, I know this is technically I can't remember what the word is, pescophagus, ichthyophagous. Yeah, ichthyophagous, not pescophagus. That's a mixture of pescatarian, and this thing isn't a pescatarian because it's not human. It's ichthyophagous. It eats fish, most likely, but I think once tamed it can also eat raw meat as well. But when taming it, use fish meat. I always just chuck fish meat in it because coelacanths are just absolutely everywhere. So going around with one of these things is no problem. Oh look, we've got a Capro here. Hopefully a Capro doesn't dismount us. You know, they are really at home though in the swamp, and you often find berries around things like the Capros, and it's a very common environment for the Barry, of course. You look up pictures of the Baryonyx in Ark, and it's always in the swamp biome. Although in ASA, the spawns are perhaps a little bit bugged and they just spawn in rivers. If that was an artistic choice, then perhaps that is what it is as well. But I do think personally they should stay in the swamp biome. That is a sort of natural habitat, and it does come with a little bit of a caveat with the taming perhaps, because, you know, the swamp really isn't a friendly biome. This is a much larger swamp than the one on the island. It goes much deeper as well, as far as I'm concerned. Haven't seen any leeches yet, which is nice. Also haven't seen any Spinos or Paraceratheriums, but we may or may not come across those. But the Diplodocus are pretty rare, and we've seen a few of those, which is nice, I guess. And then we're on these sort of swamp plains and massive stutters, and we're going to take out these Carnos here. But as you can see, they're quick, versatile mounts which can go underwater really effectively. They can stun underwater as well. While they only have one attack, and we're not doing an insane amount of damage to this Carno, you can see why this one is a much higher level than that Rex that we were initially fighting. Yeah, it's a level 950. We're going to pump a lot more levels into melee, please. Over 10,000%. Not quite, but we'll get there eventually. And you can see now, yeah, we do 2,000 damage, so we're plowing through these things a lot more. Doesn't really have any special attacks like bleed or anything like that, but it still definitely does get the job done in terms of damage. But its main sort of attributions as well are its caving skills. There's a Pulmonary Scorpius there, being a little bit naughty. Take that, and then we're also gonna add some stamina, because why not? Their stamina is pretty good though on the Barry, and you can see we're traveling with good speed, obviously because we leveled the movement up a little bit, but even at the default movement they're still pretty great as well, and you can get around places reasonably quickly on these things. They're pretty great for traversing around. You can see we are really speeding on this thing though with the extra movement speed. They deal decent amounts of damage. They're the perfect size for doing anything cave related, and they really are just fantastic arc dinos for taking around the place. So I would strongly recommend a Baryonyx at some point. Truly fantastic arc creatures. And let's end this video by trying to take out that Titanosaur, if we can get up to it as it falls perhaps majestically from the sky. Now, if you haven't noticed, we are in creative mode, so we haven't actually been taking any damage throughout this video. But for the sake of it, for this last bit, I will come out of creative mode and then we will see what happens. There we go. We have dismounted and now we're going to ride again. We are not in creative mode. I'm just staying in creative mode for the video just so we don't die through it. It just makes it more complicated. What level Titanosaur is this? This is a level 50 because we're on difficulty 50. Let's see how it goes. This probably won't go amazingly, but you know, it's got extra sort of damage there, and you can see we are taking a reasonable amount of damage, but this is a level 50 Titanosaur that we're dealing with here. But we have perhaps made a little bit of a dent on it, but I think it's made perhaps a bit more of a dent on me than it has otherwise. The Barry really isn't a Titanosaur killer, but you can see this difficulty 50 Titanosaur is absolutely gonna wreck the Barry. But again, this isn't really its use case, and we're doing a decent amount of damage. Perhaps you can see there's a little bit of blood on it, so we've probably taken perhaps a little bit of its health. We didn't even die from the Titanosaur, but we've taken a little bit of its health off. But yeah, that's really not the use of it. But luckily we can go up to the Titanosaur and with a simple admin command can just eradicate it for killing our Barry. That was what today's video is supposed to be about. We don't want it to be around anymore. And boom, like that, the Titanosaur is dead. The admin command being the most powerful thing. That really is like a lot of physics going on there. Let's see if we can stand upon the corpse of the Titanosaur as we end today's video. With the dead Barry over there, we're just going to pretend like it's not over there and just focus on, yes, this was definitely the Barry's victory. Now, perhaps if this was difficulty 1 Titanosaur, things would have gone a little bit better. But that's me atop this thing, inside the skin of the Titanosaur. The Baryonyx is a great creature. While it's no Titanosaur killer, it's great for plenty of other things. So please go check out the Baryonyx. It is truly fantastic. And give it up for our patrons, Ekaterina Puchkova and Karina Thorne, Dominic Macy-Jewski, sorry about that name, and everyone else that's on this list. All the people I've mentioned are paid members, and if you feel like that's something you want a shout out at the end of the video, go join the Patreon or become a paid YouTube member.